Hello everybody, Chad Eves here, and today I'd like to share with you a LinkedIn post I recently saw that was posted by one of the editors and my response to it. In the post, the editor had described how one of his friends had had a bad interview experience, and that this was primarily around the interviewer not being engaged and repeating the same question repeatedly and implying that the interview was a waste of time. There's a link in the post below with it if you'd like to see it. The editor asked, what did people think that his friend should have done? Before I go into my post, there's one quick note I'd like to share. And that is how the interviewer committed one of the worst nonviolent offenses one person can inflict on another one. And this is wasting time. If the interviewer, and by extension, the organization, respects people so little as to waste their time with a bogus interview, this is a huge red flag as far as the quality of the person and the company. Getting an interview, it's an emotional event. People are usually hopeful that they'll get the job or that they'll at least be in the running. Recruiters and others who do pointless interviews to check a box and fill a quota, it's really inexcusable. It reflects more on them, their line of work, and the organizations that they represent than they probably want to acknowledge. Now, as far as my post, the first comment I had was, could the interviewer had had a bad day? Some other people had made this comment, and my response was, how is this really relevant? The more important question is the interviewer professional? Which, from the information shared, the answer is no. If this is how an interviewer handles talking to a candidate, what will working there be like? The message from the interviewer in the situation is, I suck. And there's a pretty good chance that my employer sucks because they allow me to work here. People always need to remember that the candidate is also interviewing the potential employer. Secondly, a crucial component of communication is projection of your self-confidence and your dignity. If a person allows themselves to be treated in this way and accepts a job in this situation, they really have no one to blame but themselves if it turns out to be a lousy job. And they should really expect to be treated poorly because that's what they've communicated to the interviewer and the company by accepting a job in this situation. What's the best course of action? In the interview, tell the employer what went down. They may or may not be aware of it. Lastly, say the person is legitimately having a bad day. Maybe their kid has a terminal illness and they just aren't able to get into the right mindset for 20 or 30 minutes to do the interview. Reschedule it. If you ever find yourself in this kind of a situation, I hope it's nothing that serious. But if you can't do the interview well, for whatever reason, a legitimate reason, not getting enough sleep the night before is not one, just because you couldn't sleep, reschedule it or hand it off to somebody else. That's going to be a much more mature and professional option to do, especially if you're looking to attract quality candidates, than just going through the motions and wasting someone's time and potentially laying them down emotionally in a situation where they're really hoping to get a job that'll work for them. So there's a link in the article. Go check it out. There's some other posts on there. Those are always kind of interesting reads depending on people's opinion. I'm a big advocate of when a person goes to interview to really check out the organization you're going to potentially work for. I acknowledge in some situations a person needs a job and you got to take what comes along. But go into it with your eyes open and understanding if they're behaving one way in the interview, it could potentially be worse once you actually start working at that place. And these are all telltale signs of communication.